Just taking a quick recap in our wedding timeline. So we've gone through the wedding day. The next logical step is obviously the baby shower. So from therein, maybe you might be going through the whole doctor's visits, pregnancy process. Maybe this next segment is geared more towards the women, especially if it's your first child. There's a lot of apprehensions, you don't know what to expect. And most women are actually fearful of the birthing process because, well, it's not really something that's very genteelly spoken about. I wanted to take a look at the doctor's visit process, if you will. So the next film I wanted to take a look at is the Unborn, the 1991 horror film. This was a low-budget film. It was produced by Roger Corman. The director is Rodman Flender. He may be better known for Idle Hands. He also directed the Leprechaun sequel. So it's a fairly good movie. I enjoyed it growing up, not necessarily the sort of film that maybe an 8-year-old should watch, but my brother and I were always walking around the video shop, and it's just one of the movies I happened to pick out that one day. So the film does focus on a sterile woman named Virginia. She's going through an in vitro fertilization process with a specialist, Dr. Meyerling, who has basically just gone through leaps and bounds. He's created a name for himself in this field. The reason she cannot have children is, as it's explained in the film, I don't know if this is actually true, but the way it's explained in the film is that she has suffered uterine scarring from a miscarriage, so this has made it difficult for her to carry to term. In our opening scene, we do have a very early appearance, literally within the first minute. We have a brunette, Lisa Kudrow, playing Dr. Meyerling's secretary. Sometime also later on within that same scene, later see Kathy Griffin, who is promoting her sort of new age Lamaze type classes, and she's also there in support of her partner as they were also expecting their first child. Virginia is referred to Dr. Meyerling by some friends of Brad, her husband. They were also having difficulty conceiving a child, and they were referred to Meyerling. Early on in the film, the weirdness does begin. Meyerling does explain to her that as a result of the treatment, because they are doing sort of a revolutionary process, that she may experience some side effects. He does warn her that she may have a rash. He gives her a cream to help soothe the discomfort that this may cause. And it really is a very bad rash that it does appear on her neck. It does not go away. It gradually becomes worse. He also gives her a cassette tape to listen to. This also contains new agey type music, but she later discovers that it has occult messages to the fetus, just letting it know what it is and how special it really is, and to not be fearful of its gifts. What's really going on is Meyerling is experimenting on these children, and he's trying to create a race of superhumans. So they are definitely more advanced, more intelligent. In some scenes we do later learn that they do have the ability to, I don't want to say psychically, but they are connected to the mother. So in some sense they do have a connection in which they can manipulate their emotions, thoughts, actions. So there is one scene in which Kathy Griffin's character is killed off because the fetus is jealous. It doesn't want to share the affection with the partner. It just wants the mother's affection for itself. Virginia also writes children's stories. This is what she does for a living. It's quite fitting, the fact that she's always wanted a child. She really cares for children, and she nurtures vicariously, I guess you could say, through her stories, which are read to other children. It isn't long before Virginia does discover what is going on, and she does decide to abort the child because she realizes this isn't a normal human baby. She has seen what it is capable of. She's actually fearful of what she is carrying inside of her and wants nothing to do with it. She is also angry with her husband, Brad, because he, to a degree, knew this was a experiment, but he didn't know all the facts. So he didn't know that Meyerling was producing mutant babies. And I would say, way to go there, Brad. You definitely win Spouse of the Year for putting your wife through that. But it's normal in most people's lives. They do want families. So I assume that's why he didn't tell her the full details, although he did know it was some sort of an experiment. Virginia, as I said, does attempt to abort the child. They go through some sort of a shady back alley operation, and she wakes up, I guess, after the medicines have worn off, and she realizes that the doctors have been killed off. She runs back home, tries to escape that, but the child, actually having survived the procedure, does come back home to her. It finds her, and obviously it demands to be taken care of. This also does lead to the end of Brad in the story, and the ending sequence has somewhat of a Rosemary's Baby type effect to it. Obviously she knows she has to do away with this thing, but there's that maternal instinct there. So I guess you could tie that into, most women. For the most part, it really was a very enjoyable film. It is a 90s movie. Their effects aren't too bad. They are believable, although once you do see the baby, he is a bit hokey. He is hideous, as you would expect him to be, and that is definitely not a face a mother could love. But there you go, a reminder of the terrors of parenthood, if you will. 1994 introduced the sequel, Unborn 2. It's more of a standalone story. It's not really too tied in. There's no reference to the previous doctor. The mother in this film is named Catherine, and she's moving from town to town trying to keep her baby in safety, but he keeps killing everyone. He keeps leaving a trail of everywhere they've been. There's also a situation with a woman, Linda, who has become somewhat of a hunter. She was a previous patient of the doctor. She's aware of what monstrosity these children are. Pretty much put her own kid down, and she's been going around retiring other children. Catherine has managed to make a friend with a man named John, who is played by Scott Valentine. He seems to be an understanding friend at first. We later realize that he's only befriended Catherine because he wants to gain control of the child. The stress does begin early on in the film as Catherine is trying to take care of her child but also keep him in safety. It isn't long before she feels the need to move again. By this time, John's caught on to her. He's manipulated the child and practically turned it against her. So she's not only avoiding a supposed friend, but she's also trying to avoid being murdered by her own offspring. The child itself is a puppet. It's very grotesque and just monstrous. It is fairly well done for what it is. This is a B flick and a direct-to-video one at that. So the fact that it is slightly animatronic definitely does add to it. There really isn't too much in the amount of high gore or strong storyline, anything like that, but just for the fact that it was produced by Roger Corman, the film has gained somewhat of a following. I believe both films are fairly obscure. I've never really run across anyone that has heard of either of these. I would say either the first or second one are definitely worth checking out. The first one is a way better story. It lays down a lot of the groundwork, explains a lot. So they are standalones. If you don't manage to find one but find the other, I'd say just take a look at it just to say that you've seen it. But that is pretty much it. I will talk to you later.